For more analysis, we're joined by Mr. Ashraf Singer, world politics analyst from California, and Mr. Ahmed Maharem, writer and political analyst from Cairo. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. And let me start here with Mr. Singer. Mr. Singer, how is Netanyahu balancing pressure from the international mediators with opposition from his far-right coalition partners?
Yeah, Netanyahu wasn't really a huge challenge, particularly with his cabinet, and this is why President Trump sent with and sent a meeting. Seems to me like both of them doing a good job. I don't say enforcing, but at least convincing and lobbying what really President Trump does to end that like war in Gaza. It seems to be clear that it cannot challenge the will of President Trump, because President Trump has already made a decision on the huge here in the United States about the role of the United States in stopping this war, particularly the MAGA movement, give really huge to President Trump and the American foreign policy. So it seems to me like Trump now is reflecting his power, his wealth, to protect also his political survival. That the public opinion in the United States wasn't really welcome.
Mr. Ashraf, it seems that we need to see what's technical problems in the transmission, because your voice is not so clear from your side. So let me go to Mr. Maharem until we get back to you. Mr. Maharem, what does the narrow and contentious vote within Netanyahu's coalition reveal about the current political divisions in Israel, and how the hardline opposition within Israel could impact the implementation and durability of this ceasefire?
Well, ceasefire came actually as a strong point to say that the Palestinian has gained after 2 years all their suffering, make a conclusion that there is a kind of hope at the end of the tunnel. Different opinion and different thoughts and different efforts from all the countries around the world, especially the Middle East, Egypt, Qatar, and other countries. I think it's a kind of earthquake happened in Israel. The cabinet of Benjamin Netanyahu, not all of them are in the same scenario. Some of his cabinet are against the deal, but the pressure from President Trump was successfully at the end to make Israel to agree on that kind of deal. Ceasefire itself is a big effort and a big success to start a roadmap to a hope that Palestinian-Israeli trouble has been for years, can be kind of settlement. I think with the pressure from American administration and the President Trump personally, something will happen clearly on Sunday at Sharm el-Sheikh with the President of Trump and the efforts of Egypt. I think the future, it seems like going to be much better than before. Israel seems like accept that there is no succeed or there is no winning on the war to kill Palestinian citizens. And I think what is happening inside Israel cabinet is something to represent that Palestinian efforts have taken place and the future will be on their side.
Still, we're speaking here about the division inside the Israeli coalition government. And do you think this ceasefire deal could trigger a kind of government crisis for Netanyahu, or even a collapse of his coalition? And what political risks does he face at this very particular moment?
Well, it's very critical for him personally and for the cabinet and for the whole Israeli government. It could happen, a collapse will happen sometime in the future, but I think what is the result of that kind of conclusion Not all the cabinet are on one side. So the main trouble is now he will be questioned against what happened in the last 2 years. The war itself has no kind of result. You killed thousands and thousands of Palestinian citizens, and still Hamas has the power, and still your objective of getting the detainees, it's not happened yet, unless this ceasefire is stopped and started. And also, you did not succeed to achieve one of your targets, that the Palestinian people has to remove from their land and go somewhere else. So all the details of the negotiation leads like some kind of time will happen. So many questions will be addressed to Benjamin Netanyahu, and maybe his cabinet will be collapsed.
Right. If I may ask you here about the role Egypt has played behind the scenes, and is Cairo now positioned as the lead mediator in the Palestinian-Israeli diplomacy?
Actually, for the last 2 years, the strong efforts and clear efforts of the Egyptian government, diplomacy, and also other efforts, I think for time being, it's very clear that the American administration, all the international power have already admitted that the efforts of Egypt have been reached the conclusion that the ceasefire started. And the main difficult question is the day after. What will happen the day after? Egypt will take the role because Egypt has the whole details of what's happening in the area.
Now, what happens after? It seems that there is a multi-task force that will monitor that. But if we need to understand here the role that Egypt has played in order to achieve that great moment where we are seeing finally a ceasefire, a true ceasefire that would lead then to other negotiations, probably leading to a two-state solution or a Palestinian independent state. Mr. Maharem, we need to understand the role that Egypt has played behind the scenes all that long time.
Was not an easy task for the what Egypt has done beyond the scene, because to get all the parties, the Hamas people and the Israeli people and the American and all of, not only Egypt, I think Qatar also have better, but Egypt itself, the intelligence of Egypt, I think have done a very strong and intensive negotiations for the last couple of months. And even since October 7, 23, almost 2 years, a lot of efforts was done from the Egyptian government as officials, and also from the people of Egypt. So many materials have been supplied to the Palestinian people.
Well, if I may ask you here, what are the implications if hardline factions within Israel or the ministers inside the government attempt to derail the ceasefire in the early stages? What do you think would happen?
I think it could be something different can happen, but with the different efforts have been taking place, I think nothing better than what it was done. It is so difficult to deal with the Israeli when it comes to negotiations. So I think the Palestinian people, you can see in their faces what happened for the last 24 hours when they received those kind of hope that they still, even the 80% or 90% of the country is demolished, but they still have the hope that they still are on their land and nobody else can push them to go out of it.
Right now we again are rejoined by Dr. Singer, world politics analyst. Thank you again for being with us, and good to have you back. Now, what mechanisms are in place to monitor compliance, and who will enforce them if violations occur?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you very well. Would you please repeat that question?
Definitely. Now, what from your point of view are the mechanisms that were put in place to monitor compliance of all parties, and who will enforce them if violations occur?
This is a very good question. As we see clearly that President Trump, and Egypt, basically, they were playing a major role, particularly to stop, thanks to President Sisi's leadership and his team, particularly the chief of the Egyptian intelligence. the point here is and United States gonna to monitoring, both Israel and Hamas. We understand that any side gonna to violate that ceasefire and that agreement, I'm sure it will be a huge disaster, and, for the region, for the security. So it seems to me like both Egypt and United States are keen to put pressure on both sides, and the most important, how to put pressure in Israel, because Israel, has like different factions. Not all of them they are accepting, fire, particularly Smartish and in the field, and these guys they are likely to put pressure in Netanyahu to pursue the war in Gaza. But with that kind of support, that President Trump likely to attend Egypt, someday to attend that ceremony. This is mean that President Trump, by his role as a president of the United States, also is reflecting his personality. He doesn't like, to see any party violating the ceasefire. I'm very sure that ceasefire is going to last long, particularly for the next steps as Egypt playing the major role to bring all parties, with the Arab countries, to train the Palestinian forces. They can really take care of the security in Gaza. So this is a very good proposal that can really prevent Israel to attack Gaza again and make Gaza more secure than before. And I'm sure the next step is thinking clearly about Egypt's proposal, how to rebuild Gaza, and thinking, the independent state for Palestine.
But from your point of view, Dr. Singer, how significant was Donald Trump's involvement in securing this agreement? And what are his motivations, diplomacy, or even electoral optics?
As Trump, said clearly that he would be like fair and balanced between Israelis and Palestinians, and this is a very good point that the United States will change his position rather than to support Israel 100%. Now, the United States needs to make really a good mediator or fair mediator between the two. Of course, that situation is pretty difficult, particularly in that transition of keeping ceasefire last for long, to end that kind of bloody conflict in the Middle East. Trump, after he did this calculation with his team here in the United States, we agreed that the future is stability in the Middle East. We need to end this conflict. And I'm sure the United States had a say or had a voice on Israel's decisions. So I'm sure that the United States can really enforce Israelis to accept that ceasefire. And I think that the United States has that privilege and leverage to Israel in that position rather than to attack them and attack Gaza again. So it's really clear because the United States is the main provider of security for Israel. And this is include, the political support, the diplomacy support, the military support. So without that kind of support, Israel cannot see any conflict in the Middle East. So it depends on the will of the United States, and it's really clear that the United States now has really great will to stop.
From your point of view, how is President Donald Trump positioning the United States in this deal, particularly given his stated neutrality on the two-state solution? And what does that suggest about U.S. policy under his leadership?
United States foreign policy really in a huge, big in international politics. Gaza one of that challenge for the U.S. now. So President Trump, he wants to confirm and affirm that United States is still there in the Middle East, and particularly that huge investment that United States in the Middle East, particularly without that degree of stability, United States cannot really achieve it with the interest of the region. Plus, United States really needs Egypt to play a major role to keep the region secure, and nothing can really happen against the Israel. We understand that both of them have lack of rationality how to pursue their prosperity and future. So I can see that the United States now, the situation now is really calm down that conflict, and it seems to be the burden of that liability of Israel security. So this is on the new direction now from President Trump, that he needs really to reduce that liability of United States and that burden, and with Israel to survive by a strong agreement with Arab and with Palestinians, and not really escalate the situation with Egypt in future, because this is not really achieving the United States interest of Israel. It's going to stay in that situation and try to act and irrationally with many Arab countries, particularly, but Palestinians. They really need security, and Palestine as a state will really achieve a high degree of stability for Israel too. So
right.
It seems to me like the new calculation now is really made, and this is why President Trump sent and risk off to Egypt and Israel as well.
Right. Mr. Maharem, how might this ceasefire influence broader Middle East regional stability, including Israel's relationship with Lebanon, Syria, and Iran?
Well, I think there is two different opinions. Another opinion, which I don't agree with it, they said that Benjamin Netanyahu would like to expand his ego, and he will go next very soon to Iran. I don't think this is the right time, because America will not agree with that. Secondly, with that kind of success, there is a ceasefire, and there is a hope at the end of the tunnel that peace will be attended and guaranteed by President Trump and the American administration. Israel has to spend some time to rectify a lot of damage economically inside the country. Israel has a lot of $100 billion, the conclusion of 2 years expenses, and there is so many casualties and death cases. So the economy of Israel needs some kind of stability. So I don't think that anything will be able to be done very soon from the Israeli government. They have to spend some time to think about how they can keep good relation with the neighborhood, and how to start a new phase with the Palestinian government.
Dr. Singer, to what extent can the peace initiative pave the way for renewed negotiations toward Palestinian self-determination and a two-state solution?
It's coming. Two-state solution is the only option, or the viable option for Palestinians and Israel. Netanyahu, did his best, to kill as much as he can. But that conflict and that war in Gaza didn't really achieve the Israel security. So Trump really, read this situation clearly, after Biden, the president, gives Israel all the needs, comparing, all the military equipment to Israel, and Israel really bombed Gaza, I would say like 4 or 5 nuclear bombs. But by the end, the Americans, they are very practical. They didn't really see that any kind of achievement by Netanyahu to achieve his goal to secure Gaza or the region, which is the opposite. That since Israel attacked Qatar and attacked other Arab countries, this is not really a right situation for the Americans. So America now is based on what is the new direction. We asked also Egypt to really to give like a huge role in achieving this ceasefire. And I think the strong relationship between the United States and is held more in securing the region, particularly after the U.S. really assist the decision making in Israel, and we found these guys are rational and gonna to keep this conflict for like many years, and this is the change of the direction now. It's really clear from the White House. We need really to secure this ceasefire and improve that degree of security in the Middle East. So that level, we can really understand that the mistrust between the sides and the Israelis and Palestinians really need to give like that deal. I would say very, very important to get that done, and it seems to me like President Trump gonna to support that deal, particularly that is gonna to attend that, and if anyone gonna to violate that plan or President Trump plan, get like a huge lashback from the U.S. and U.S. can really hurt a lot if Israel particularly violates this.
Right. Mr. Maharem, let me here ask you, what could be the long-term prospects for peace and security in Gaza following this ceasefire, especially regarding political negotiations and Hamas status and the whole Palestinian internal scene?
Well, long-term security of the region is actually, it could be the wish of the United States of America and the European Union and most of the countries in the world. Last 2 weeks of September at the General Assembly, we have seen so many, more than 150 countries are supporting the Palestinian states to be announced. Plus, America have tried for the last 2 years to support Israel in different ways. And at the end of the way, the American administration discovered that instead of being helpful and assisting to the Israeli government, they are already shared with them to that kind of war. So I think American administration with the President Trump, they will enforce all their policies for the near future, that there is a hope that there is a stability will be in the region. So maybe with the pressure from America, something will happen with the way that Israeli government are thinking. And I think with the next few weeks, few months, I think Egypt with other states on the region will play a good role to enforce that kind of hope.
Right. Mr. Singer, what did Trump mean when he said Israel cannot fight the world's within the context of this peace deal?
So it seems to me very clear that this is a new vision of President Trump as a peacemaker, as a White House, like described, post one of the lovely posts saying, this is the man of the peace, or that he makes the peace in the Middle East. And I think Trump needs really to protect his legacy of that he is really making peace in the region, and particularly Palestinians and Israelis conflict. It's one of the worst conflicts ever. And of course, he probably failed in achieving the peace between Ukraine and Russia. And now now we'd like, to get that peace done between Israel and Palestinians, and this is can really give some strong roots here in the United States and all over the world. Because the globe got really into domestically or nationally about what is going on in Palestine and Gaza. The second, United States really need really to
Right.
deeply about its domination particularly of the right of China and its role as a dominant nation or country.
Right. Clear. That is so clear. That was Dr. Ashraf Singer, world politics analyst, and Mr. Ahmed Maharem, writer and political analyst. We thank you both, gentlemen, for sharing your valuable analysis and perspectives with us in this in our coverage. This brings us to the end of our special coverage. So many thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for more updates on Q News.